This video is going to help you go from lazy to disciplined before 2025 so you can level up and get into your productive era. So if you have big goals and big intentions for yourself, but you find yourself kind of lacking in consistency to do the work to get there, or you're struggling with staying disciplined, maybe difficult life circumstances, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you the key aspects to help you transform from lazy to disciplined. And spoiler alert, it's probably not because you're lazy. It's probably just because you don't have the tools that I'm going to share with you in this video. And if you're wondering who the heck am I to give you advice on how to become more disciplined, I'm Dr. Tiffany Shelton Merrill. I'm a neuropsychologist and published author, and I've spent years researching achievement psychology, and I'm excited to share with you the most cutting edge, proven strategies to be more disciplined and consistent so you can reach your biggest dreams. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Where are you going? Destination, dream life. So nobody's really talking about how important the goal setting process is when it comes to staying disciplined. It can truly make or break your consistency. And this is because discipline and consistency starts with a firm vision of where you want to go. That's what's going to help you be disciplined more easily because you're laser focused on where you want to go. So start with the goal planning. Define the vision that you have for your goals. Who is your highest self and how do you want to show up for her? This is exactly the reason that I created my Mod Ambition Planner. It was important for me to have the 90-day planner to help you stay on track with your goals, but it was also very important for me to start with the goal planner that's in the planner to help you get aligned with that vision. What are your values? What's most important to you? And achievement psychology to help you set goals in a way that make them easy to achieve and that can help you actually achieve your goals faster. One of the pages that I think is really important as it applies to discipline and consistency is the rocket fuel page, where you help define your why behind your goal. And this is important because the more you can connect with the why behind your goal, why do you want it? Why do you believe that you're going to achieve it? The easier it is for you to be able to be consistent and disciplined in the work that it takes to achieve that goal. So before you get into just the hard work of trying to get yourself more disciplined, I want you to take a step back, define the vision, connect with the why behind that vision, and that's going to make discipline and consistency much easier. Another thing I want you to do before you get into the more tactics of discipline is, once you have that vision of your future, also have a vision of yourself and infuse a discipline into that identity that you have for yourself. Tony Robbins said the most powerful force in the human psyche is people's need for their words and actions to stay consistent with their identity and how we define ourselves. And that really for me is all about integrity. It's about doing what's right even when no one is looking. And if you can infuse this type of integrity within your identity, that's going to make being disciplined that much easier. For example, when I've been really trying, if you've followed me along on this channel for a while, trying different things with my budgeting routine over the years, and what I think really stuck with this year, my word of the year is wellness. So financial wellness is a part of that. So being more consistent with having a picture of my finances was important to me. So I had to really dig down and figure out why it was so hard for me to stay consistent with my budgeting routine, which ideally for me is weekly, which was ending up being like monthly. And I feel like what's kind of led me over my breakthrough in the second half of the year of staying consistent with it is really thinking about the woman that I am becoming. She is a person that is very in tune with her finances because she's smart with money. She makes good investments. She knows how to use her money for good. And that starts with having a good grasp on my finances now. And if I can't be trusted to keep track with what I have now, how can I expect God to bless me with more? So really infusing within my identity that I am a person that knows my numbers, that's on top of my finances and my metrics, has really helped me stay consistent and disciplined with that routine without having to apply anything tactical. So you know where you want to go. If you are using strategies of the 12-week year, you have a plan to get there, but how do you stick with what you've planned to reach these goals? I know all too well that shameful cycle of making plans, starting off with a bang, falling off even harder with a bang, burning out, feeling bad about myself, and then restarting this whole toxic cycle. That was until I started researching self-discipline and learned these really 4 dirt simple ways ways to stay on top of your goals. The first dirt simple way is to not give up. You might be saying, yeah, that's obvious, Tiffany, don't give up, but I'm going to tell you actually how to not give up as you are pursuing what it is you want so that you can maintain that discipline muscle. The first thing is placeholders. This is how you're going to stay consistent even when you aren't feeling motivated. So let's say you have a goal every day to get on your treadmill in the morning or do a little yoga before you get started with your day. And one day you may be feeling kind of sick and you don't feel like it. You might be tempted to just not get on that treadmill or do that yoga, but I'm going to ask you to just create a placeholder, go through the motions, put on your shoes, get on that treadmill, even if you have to do it for just 5 minutes, just so you keep that muscle, that discipline, that habit of doing this thing that you're trying to stay disciplined with. Which leads me to also forgetting about perfectionism. If you're not going to give up, you're going to have to make amends with yourself, accept the fact that nothing is going to be perfect. Some days good enough is going to be good enough, and it's going to allow you to stay consistent. And you're not going to be so hard on yourself that you're not going to put out your work or do your work if it's not perfect. And that's really going to set you free. Keep getting back on that horse, even if you feel like, oh, I've been trying to get to this goal. I've been trying to, eat healthy and get a healthy gut. And it just feels like I'm never going to get there. I keep falling off. Keep getting back on that horse. I promise you will get there. The only way you won't is if you give up. And some things take longer than we expect. That's not an excuse to give up on them. In fact, Paulo Coelho said, you are not defeated when you lose. You are defeated when you quit. So know that things will take time and don't expect overnight changes. Again, give yourself that grace. If you fall off track, don't try to make up for lost time. Just pick up where you left and restart. The second dirt simple way to stay consistent is to fall in love with delayed gratification and break up with instant gratification. So instead of thinking of things as like this long journey to get your goals, I want you to break it into different milestones that will help you eventually get to that larger goals. By breaking your journey into milestones, you get little instant gratification. So I guess you don't have to break up with instant gratifications, but you'll get those little ones along the way, and that'll help you fall in love with delayed gratification. For example, getting my PhD, if I would have just thought about that long process of 5 years down the line getting my PhD, I don't think I could have made it. But having each semester to work towards, each practicum towards, and then my internship, those were little milestones that got me to the end. So when you're doing that, focus on that first step of just getting started towards that initial milestone, and that will help you stay consistent. The third dirt simple way to stay consistent is accountability. And I want to read you something from the 12-week year that will help you understand why this is so important. You're 7 times more likely to be successful if you participate in some form of peer support. There was a study conducted with patients who had severe medical conditions that required lifestyle changes in order to live. What they found is that when patients attended group support sessions, that their success rate was nearly 7 times higher. The groups not involved in peer support had a 10% success rate. Those participating in support had a 77% success rate. The lesson is clear. If you're facing change, don't go it alone. And so accountability, you can see, is really, really important. One way, if you're saying, Tiffany, I don't have a group to be accountable with right now, habit tracking has been shown to be a successful form of accountability to yourself. So just the mindfulness of getting in tune with what habits you're able to do each day. And then if you don't do it, thinking about why you weren't able to stay consistent, what got in the way, so you can troubleshoot on those things getting in the way, has also been shown in research to help you stay accountable. And then the fourth dirt simple way to stay consistent is to ignore temptations. I'm going to give you some things that you can do to ignore those temptations that try to come in and distract you from being disciplined or derail you from staying disciplined and staying the course with whatever it is you're trying to keep doing. So the first thing is replacement. So if you have a temptation, let's say you're trying to eat healthier, and you keep finding yourself failing because in the afternoon you're getting really hungry, so you go for the chocolate that you don't want to keep eating. Have healthy snack replacements would be an option instead of having those junk foods around. And then also removing temptation, so not having the candy or the chocolate in the first place in your pantry. Also, don't make decisions in the moment. Stick to your plan. So you want to act on commitments, not feelings. As a neuropsychologist, one of the modalities I particularly love is called acceptance and commitment therapy. And one of the tenets of this type of psychology is that you accept those difficult emotions like triggers and temptations and cravings to get off track or go do something fun versus staying disciplined. You accept that discomfort, but you still act on committing to your values, committing to what's most important to you. So don't make decisions in the moment. Stick to what you planned when you were your higher self, and then make commitments based on your values, where you want to go in life, while still, processing those other difficult emotions. Here's some ways I want to give you to act on your commitments and not on your emotions. This is going to require you to regulate yourself in the moment when you have those temptations to get on your phone or be on social media instead of work or go have the chocolate. Here's some things you can do to regulate yourself in the moment so that you're not just reacting to those emotions. Instead, you are acting on your commitment. The first one is diffusion, where you're learning to separate your identity and experience from your thoughts. So not every thought is true, and you don't have to follow every thought. You can kind of put space between you and your thoughts so that you're not impulsively following each thought. Another way is thought restructuring, just learning how to choose more helpful thoughts in the face of negative thoughts that might be discouraging you or causing you to not be as disciplined. We talked about committed action, and that specifically is the act of accepting and processing those difficult emotions like boredom or impulsivity or anxiety that make it hard for us to stay disciplined. Even if we have to carry that in the background, still do those things that are going to move us closer to what we value. Another one of my faves, is radical acceptance. So accepting difficult life challenges and figuring out how to make the problems the solution so that we can continue on towards our goals without having these life obstacles kind of stop us in our track. Another thing you could do in the face of cravings or triggers that are trying to veer you off track of staying disciplined is really understand that the first 2 minutes are the hardest. If you can get past the craving or the trigger to get on your phone or to do something else when you're supposed to be working, or even eat that piece of chocolate, if you can resist for 2 minutes, it's going to be much easier to beat that craving or that temptation. Another important thing is to learn to not do self-negotiation or to negotiate with yourself. And I'm going to put in a clip here of Kobe Bryant talking about this and how it helps us stay more disciplined.
Give me an example of that self-negotiation. Can you expand on that?
You're out running on a track, working out, you start talking to yourself saying, man, my knee is really sore right now. Maybe I'm doing too much.
Sounds like me.
Maybe I need to back off, man, my lungs are burning. Maybe I can just slow down here. I'll do like an extra 2 sets tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right? That sort of stuff.
Yes.
Like that stuff's dangerous.
Yes.
And that's when you just got to say, you know what? I'm not negotiating with myself.
Yeah.
The deal was already made. The deal was made. When I set out at the beginning of the summer and said, this is the training plan I'm doing, I signed that contract with myself. I'm doing it. Throughout that process, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I think I need to, maybe if we, nope. No, this is non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And then it's also important to realize that willpower is a finite resource, and it's best when we have our wellness in tiptoe to increase our willpower. So you can want to do things like decrease stress, get more sleep, and get more brain fuel like nutrients in order to have the most optimal wellness, to have like a willpower reserve. And then the last piece is to identify those culprits that are underneath the self-defeating behaviors. Is it neurodivergence that you maybe need to address due to things like ADHD or mood or any other reasons that it may be hard for you to not be impulsive or to focus and pay attention to your work to be disciplined? Or is it some underlying mood concern that's getting in the way of you being able to be disciplined, like struggles with just feeling bored or like anxiety, like I mentioned before? What's underneath the problem of you constantly being tempted to not be disciplined? And once you understand that, you can treat that, and that's going to make the surface level problem of staying consistent a little bit easier. So now that you know where you want to go, you've built the bridge, it's time to enjoy the walk. And that means saying goodbye to toxic productivity. Don't forget though, it's not just about crossing the discipline bridge to get to your goals. It's also about enjoying the walk. The problem is when we go so hard on being disciplined that it's at the sacrifice of our well-being, that does not a sustainable hustle make. And in fact, toxic productivity will take you back to where you started, far away from actually reaching your ultimate goals. So what is toxic productivity? It's workaholism. It's obsessing about being productive. It's tying your self-worth to achievement. It's not incorporating self-compassion to the point that you burn out. I want you to incorporate self-compassion so you don't burn out. And I want you to account for being human. For example, for me, I have a goal of posting one good YouTube video a week here on this channel, but I know that I'm not perfect and I can't get everything done. So to have like a more flexible goal, I say hitting at least 4 or 5. So it used to be 4. I feel like 5 is a good number for me to give myself some grace and realize that I'm not perfect, but also to help me be stringent on being disciplined. Because like I said before, willpower is a finite resource. Some days are going to be better than others. So the walk across the bridge is not really linear. You're going to incorporate your self-compassion. You're going to have also breakout blocks where you can get some deep work done. So be sure you're being flexible and preserving your willpower for the hard thing. So now that you have the tools to be disciplined and consistent, when you apply this to your goal-getting system, sis, you are going to be unstoppable. So if you're interested in the 12-week year goal system, I teed up a video I did on how to get more done in 12 weeks than most people do all year for you to watch next. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.